What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron, and today we're checking out the new album, Come Alive Dying, by the band Tenside. This is the 8th studio album from the German metalcore band since they debuted in 2007 with their rather unique, kind of new metalish album, My Personal War. And going through their discography, you could definitely hear the steady progression with the metalcore evolution over the years. Their 2017 release, Convergence, is close to being my favorite while hitting a more modern sound of that time, and they start to sound a little bit more mainstream in 2020 when they released Glamour and Gloom. Still pretty good, but a little All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us-esque, and because of that, my fear going into this new album was that they were going to continue going down that road like a lot of other metalcore bands have done, and they just end up sounding like everybody else. The album opens up with the title track, which has a tension-building melody while chanting Come Alive Dying. The verse is pretty bare bones with just drums and fantastic sounding vocals. The chorus is pretty good with powerful vocals while keeping more of a mid-tempo. The lyrics are decent-ish. The bridge is my favorite part of this song, which is going to be a very common thing throughout this album. This song seems to try to act like a catalyst of things to come, which makes for a pretty solid intro, but it only pays off if the rest of the album is able to deliver and push through. Then we have the second song, Shadow and Shine, which picks up the energy. This is about using your struggles to motivate you and leaving your past behind. The chorus sounds really familiar with a beautiful hook. I could just listen to this chorus over and over again, even though it is a little cliche. The bridge encourages you to fight back. And like I said, the song is a little cliche, but, I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. I still enjoyed it a lot, especially that chorus. It is so good. Pitch and Gold has an old school rock vibe to it, especially in the vocals. It definitely feels like a slow burn, though, once you get to the bridge, which was pretty good. This is a really encouraging song about no matter what comes his way, he's going to keep pushing through and pushing forward. Then the album takes a little bit of a dive with the song Darkness Too Bright. The distorted vocals are pretty sick in the verse. I wish they would have kept going through the chorus, though, and because they didn't, the chorus did feel a little empty. It's just a little too radio friendly. The breakdown did help out a little bit. We have the song Impending Doom, which has a Slipknot feel to it in the intro with kind of like new metal, Korn, Freak on a Leash style stuff going on in the verse, specifically with the guitar effect. I don't really care too much for the generic chorus. You could definitely tell that this song was a single, even featuring Darkest Hours vocalist John Henry. It didn't really stand out enough. He didn't bring enough variety to it for it to really stand out or have any type of impact of like what else is going on in the song. You wouldn't even be able to tell there's a different vocalist in there, to be completely honest. And for Paradise has a verse that brings the heat with a solid riff, but again, the chorus just isn't it. It's almost a little cheesy in its performance, saying you can do anything to us and we'll just keep coming back for more. Sure, it's inspiring, but it's just so cliche. It just, the execution just isn't good. It's just hard to take seriously. And at this point, they're kind of saying the same thing over and over and over again, trying to motivate themselves or even you. And then we have the song Dead Weight. Again, the verse brings the heat, but the chorus it's so cookie cutter lyrically and musically. Everything about the verse, though, including the lyrics, does it right. Pretty Lonesome is definitely my least favorite song off of this album, just because of how bland it is. The lead melody, the lyrics, all the transitions are pretty lacking. Surprisingly, though, I could see that this will be a lot of people's favorite due to just how much it gets you pumped up and it's just fight back kind of mentality. Around the third listen, though, it was just bad. It lost all of its luster and became more lack than anything else. The only redeeming quality that this song has is the breakdown riff, which is just a weaker version of the riff found at the end of Broken Promises by August Burns Red off of their album Found in Faraway Places. It's so close to being the same exact thing. It just doesn't have the hype and the energy to go along with it. Then we have Silence's Betrayal, which I actually did enjoy this song quite a bit. It has a really good groove in the verse. The chorus was enjoyable with just a little hint of currents thrown in there. The guitar solo was good too. It just fits the song really well, which is surprising to say because normally I hate guitar solos. And this is kind of, I don't know, this one felt a little out of left field because I feel like the rest of the album is going down. And this one, I don't know, I just brought it back up. And then we have Transcend, which has a decent riff in the verse. The lyrics are a little cheesy, but the passion that they bring it just helps so much, especially when the lead guitar comes in halfway through the chorus. It makes it hit just right. Dust of the Bereaved is another song that missed the mark, just like Pretty Lonesome. The lyrics are basically saying the same thing that we've been hearing for this entire album, just in not as good a way as the other songs, which also aren't really all that great. The verse is void of basically any music that catches your attention, and even the heavier moments are pretty forgettable as well. Then we have the closing track, Vengeance, which is an absolute banger. This one goes back to the same kind of vibes and the atmosphere that the title track had. The vocals are really powerful and the transitions are so sick, and the chorus is fantastic. The lyrics are encouraging and they're really easy to get drawn into. The drums and the breakdown are just, they're so great. They're phenomenal. And it's easily my favorite song. It just goes to show that you don't have to venture too far away from your sound that you have and still make a really good sounding song. I mean, they don't go over the top of what you would expect Tenside to sound like, yet they still have originality in this song, which is what just makes it stand out so much. This was a really tough album because I feel like Tenside does a good job at making music. It feels like they're just a step behind everybody else. Like, I feel like this album is something that people were doing, like, I don't know, back 3 years ago in 2020. And then in 2020, when they had that release, it felt like all the music on there was something that people were doing back in 2018. It feels like they're dragging behind with whatever's popular instead of doing their own thing. Unless if you count songs like Vengeance, the closing track, that one was fantastic. A lot of these songs, they feel like they're just saying the same thing over and over again, just in slightly different ways, but not enough to really be different. And there's not really enough riffs on this thing to stand out. The music all feels pretty the same too. They just kind of play it too safe. The songwriting leads very little to the imagination. It's pretty predictable. Some of the songs on here are absolute bangers. The closing track does everything right. Silence's Betrayal is pretty good. Dust of the Bereavement, however, is just not it, and neither is Pretty Lonesome. Those are actually dislikable songs, while the rest, I mean, they're not really terrible. They're not really bad. I just feel like, I don't know, they just all fell flat for me. They weren't really anything exciting other than just 3 songs on this album. So with all that said, I gotta give Come Alive Dying by Tenside a 5.8 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Come Alive Dying, what your favorite song is, and what you would rate it. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a like, especially if you want to continue to see more of me. It helps with YouTube's algorithm so much, especially if you want to see me in your recommended section on the YouTube feed. It just, giving videos a like does a lot more than you can imagine. And if you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. Doing any of those things helps me out tremendously, and I appreciate it more than you could ever imagine. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this. And I will talk to you guys next time.